Hello and welcome again to Global English Academy's communication classes. And from today onwards, there is a speciality in the classes because I've been receiving a lot of requests from people to just make it in English or in Hindi. So I preferably I'll do it in English because all the people from India can watch it and learn it, irrespective of the language barriers. If I just take classes in Malayalam, only one, people from Kerala only can understand it properly and learn it. So I just prefer to just take the classes in English, and from today onwards, I'm going to take the classes in English only. So I just spoke about in my earlier classes. I spoke about the importance of English in the career front, and if you don't learn English, how is it going to affect your career? And if you learn the advantages, what are the advantages that you are going to get with the knowledge of English communication and acquiring the communication skills? And you may be technically good, and if your communication skill is zero or poor, you're going to be a big zero in your career front, because the technicalities that you know is supposed to share it to the concerned person. And if your communication skill is poor, you will fail in communicating what you know to the person concerned. So I suggest all the people to learn English because it's an international language or which has a global acceptance. And if you learn English, you can travel anywhere in the world and join any company that you just prefer to work with. So from today's class, I just take the classes in English, as I said. So uh, where we are, the Indian population, the English speaking population of India, where are we? When 97% of 97.4% people in Britain speak in English, their population, 97.4% population speak in English, and 97 Australian people, 97% of the Australian people, 94% of the US people, and these are the just statistics, given statistics these days available. And when we just compare India with the other countries, according to the English speaking population, we stand at 16th position, where Bangladesh has 18% and Pakistan has 49% of the English speaking population. If you want to be a part of 10.35% of Indian English speaking population, you'll have to just watch my videos and follow my suggestions and instructions. I'm sure I promise you, I'll make you a good speaker or a good communicator in English. And I spoke in my earlier videos and classes that you'll have to read English books for at least half an hour a day, and if it is possible, make it 1 hour and learn 20 words, simple and common words every day with the present tense, past tense, past participle, and noun form, because the different tenses and the forms of these verbs are being used in different tenses usages. So I'll just tell you how to create sentences from one word, more than 100 words from one particular word, and from a situation. Sentence creation is the most, stem of, if you call it, the stem of English communication. And if you are able to, if you are succeeded in creating sentences from one word, you are succeeded there. And by the time you learn 20 words, because our vocabulary abundance should be very strong while we just communicate with people, so that we can avoid repetition that comes in between. And if you learn at least 3,000 words, common and general, common, whatever you call simple words. So I prefer you to learn 20 words a day, and with its meaning, spelling, with present tense, past tense, past participle, and noun form. That's how I'm going to just teach you how to create sentences from one word in different tenses. So let us come to the class, and one more thing I'll just tell you, which I explained earlier in classes, so you may not be able to just understand it. Do, does, did, could, would, shall, may, might, will use V1. V1 is present tense, V2 past tense, V3 is past participle. For easy usage, we use it like a poetic style. We use it like that because I wrote this poem for my students. I conduct online classes for people from different age group. Even retired people come to me to learn English because some students are there, employees are there, retired people are there, advocates come to me, police officers, retired police officers, because it's not that too late. Still, you can learn English communication. It can do if it is useful for you. If you use it somewhere or other, it's going to be beneficial for you. So do, does, did, could, would, shall, may, might, will use V1. When you use or create sentences with the do, does, did, could, would, shall, may, might, will, you have to use present tense of the verb. Okay, and have, has, had, be, being, been. When you use these, you'll have to use past participle form of the verb. These are the basic things you should understand, so that if you just go learning like this, you will be able to, in a week's or 2 weeks time, you will just feel yourself that you are creating sentences with no hurdles or with no grammatic mistakes. This is the intro that I want to just tell you. If you need more, and you can check my videos there in Global English Academy. Okay, today is day 11 of the classes, and we'll just get into the class. I'll show you how to create sentences from one word, different, more than 100 sentences from one word. So you'll have to just note down here present tense, past tense, past participle, and noun form. As I said earlier, you'll have to create a pattern like this while learning English words, and while otherwise different tenses, we use different forms of this tenses of this verb. So it is very important that you learn all these four forms while learning English. Here, now we are going to look into the word invite. Invite, invited, invited, and invitation is the noun form. If somebody, call us for some particular auspicious occasion or some function, we call it invite, and you know the meaning of invitation. So invite, invited, invited, invitation. Simple present, how are we going to create a sentence? Simple present is that we do regularly on a regular interval, once in a week, alternate days, and once in a year, once in 2 months, or once in 10 years. That regular interval things, whatever we can just say it in simple present tense. We invite all our relatives for a marriage in the family. Normally, we invite all the people, all the relatives, when we have some, marriage is happening in our family. That can be, stated in a simple present way, simple present tense. We invite all the relatives for a marriage in the family. Simple present tense. When we create a sentence, we should try for creating the questions. Questions can be created in different style using direct do, does, did, and question words and question tags. And the question word is why, what, when, who, whose, whom. Is all called question words. And question tag is, if you okay, by using question tags, you have invited all your relatives for a marriage, haven't you? because always try to just create a sentence or answer or make questions in the same tense that is asked for, they are asked for. Okay, so that is how we just create questions by using question tags. So here now we are creating a question for this simple present tense. Do we invite all our relatives for a marriage in our family? Do, does, did, do we use with the first person, second person, and all plurals, and we use does with the third person singular. So here we used do we invite, because do, does, did I said use present tense. Do we invite all our relatives for a marriage in our family? That is how we create sentences in the same tense. Only you try to create sentence, I mean make questions and ask questions in. If it is yes, yes, we invited or we invite all our relatives for marriage. Or no, if it is no, no, we don't invite all our relatives for the marriage. Here, if we just check about third person singular, he invites, because with the verb we'll have to add es when we use third person singular. He invites his relatives for a marriage in his family. In his family, he invites all his relatives. How do we create a question for that? Do this is a third person singular. So if we don't have direct, we are not using question words or question tags. Normally we use do, does, did to create questions. Here third person singular, so we are asking does he invite, because it's the third person singular. He invites was what we said. So here does he invite his relatives for the marriage in his family. Okay, now let us check about simple past tense. Simple past is something happened recently. Simple way, we are just telling simple past. We are not using any sort of ornamental things for asking questions or creating sentences. It is said very simply. We invited, because it's already happened. We invited all our relatives for the marriage. We invited all our relatives for the marriage. Simple past. How do we ask a question simple in simple past? Do, does, did. It is past. For past things, you'll just use did. Do, does is used. Do is with first person, second person, and all plurals, and does is used for third person singular, and did is for the past things. Did we invite, do, does, did, we should use present tense. So did we use all our relatives for the marriage? Did we invite all our, because it's a past things, past tense, something had happened, so there we use simple past tense. Did we invite all our relatives for the marriage? It's a question. If it is yes, yes, we invited all our relatives for the marriage. If it is no, no, we didn't invite all our relatives for the marriage. Let us look into the third person, he. If we use he invited all his relatives for the marriage. If it is third person singular also, past, simple past and past tenses, we use past tense of the verb. He invited all his relatives for the marriage. If we just ask a question for this sentence, how do we ask? He invited all his relatives. Naturally, it is a past. It is in past tense. Did he invite? Did he? Did is used, so we should use present tense of the verb. Did he invite all his relatives for the marriage? Is how it is asked. Let us check simple future. Simple future. Future things. or something which is going to happen. It is not happening, it hasn't happened, and something that is going to happen in future. That's why it's called future tense. It is simple future. We will is used for all future tenses. We will invite all our relatives for the marriage. Something is going to happen. It's not happening now, it hasn't happened, and definitely it's going to happen. So we'll use future tenses, and simple future is what we are looking into now. We will invite all our relatives for the marriage. How to ask a question for that? How to create a question? Naturally, will come this side. Will we invite all our relatives for the marriage? Will we invite all our relatives for the marriage? This is in simple future. If it is yes, yes, we will invite all our relatives for the marriage. If it is no, no, we will not invite all our relatives for the marriage. Is the answers, possible answers. And you'll have to use question words and question tags also in future. Next class I'll just tell you how to, because the earlier classes I just explained how to create sentences with by using question words and question tags. That's why I was not mentioning it here. I'll because it is in English. Now I'll tell you how to just create sentences by using question words and question tags in the next class. Now we are just checking into present continuous. How to use present continuous tense. Something is happening now, it is continuing. Now something is happening and still continuing. That is called present continuous tense. We are inviting all our relatives for the marriage. We are inviting all our relatives for the marriage. Future tense, because it is going to come, it is going to happen, so it will be used in future tense. This is, oh no, this is present continuous tense is what we are using now. We are inviting all our relatives for the marriage. Something is happening now and continuing. We are inviting, the process is on. Okay, so how to create a question for that? Are we inviting is present continuous, so continuous tense of the verb should be used. Are we inviting all our relatives for the marriage? Question. Whenever you just it's called interrogative sentences. When you ask a question, and the question mark should be used there. Punctuation marks are very important there while you are writing, or while you're talking. You cannot just talk about question mark, but while you're writing, you'll have to just use it. For IELTS, OET and all, because while you're writing, written test is taken, it's all checked, because you get a band for that also. Punctuality. Past continuous. Something was happening. It is past, but it was happening that time. Continuing. So that is called past continuous tense. It is past tense. Are is used for present tense. So we were inviting all our relatives for the marriage. We were inviting all our relatives for the marriage. Something has happened already, so we were inviting all our relatives for the marriage. Simple past continuous. How to create a question for that? Were we inviting all our relatives for the marriage? Is how it is asked. The question is asked. Were we inviting all our relatives for the marriage? This is past continuous tense. Because it's a continuous tense, so continue ing form of the verb should be used. Were we inviting? Were they inviting? If it is third person singular, was he inviting? Should be the way we should create the question in future continuous. Something is going to happen continuously. So in such situation, we use future continuous tense. We will be inviting all our relatives for the marriage. We will be inviting future continuous tense. Something is going to happen in future continuously and it's going to continue. So we will be inviting all our relatives for the marriage. It's not the matter of 1 minute. It's not the matter of 2 minutes. So it's going to continue for some time. So we'll use future continuous tense. Question: how to create a question for that future continuous tense? Will we be inviting all our relatives for the marriage? Will we be inviting future continuous? Will we be future continuous tense? That's why be is used there. Will we be inviting all the relatives for the marriage? And for those who are willing to just communicate personally, we can just get an appointment from from our institute, and we can just make it arrange it online like Google Meet or Zoom, because a lot of people are doing it like for the practice now these days. You can also practice that, how to introduce yourself, how to create sentences, how to speak, and practice is very important here. So let us talk about present perfect. Present perfect is something that we use while we are using have, has, had. Present perfect tense and past perfect tense. Have, has, had. Have is used with the first person, second person, and all plurals. And has is used with the third person singular, and had is used for all past perfect tense. Okay, here we are going to just ask, create a sentence in present perfect. We have, because first it's a plural. We is and first person plural. We have invited all the relatives for the marriage. We have invited present perfect tense. We have invited all our relatives for the marriage. How to create a question for that? Have we invited? Because I said when you use have, has, had, past participle form of the verb should be used. Be, being, been, has, have, has, had. All past participle form should be used. Here, have we invited all our relatives for the marriage? When we ask a question in third person singular, he has invited all his relatives for the marriage. It's a statement. And when the question is asked, has he invited all his relatives for the marriage? Present perfect, third person singular. Because the basic grammar I'll just tell you, but I'll just will not teach you like grammatic teachings, but I'll just mention every grammar whenever we use a sentence, so that you can be familiar with all the grammatic usage and you can create sentences without grammatic mistakes. Past perfect tense. Past perfect, I said had should be used there. So this is first person plural. We had invited all our relatives for the marriage. We had invited all our relatives for the marriage. Past perfect. Even it is singular or plural, past perfect is we should use had only. For present, in present tense, perfect tense, perfect tense, we should use have for the first person, second person in plurals, and has for the third person singular. And for the past perfect, we should use had only with each and every situation. Had we invited all our relatives for the marriage? Is the question. Had we invited? Have, has, had, past participle form should be used. Have we invited all our relatives for the marriage? When just let us look into the third person singular. He had invited. Even if it is singular, third person singular, and when it comes to past perfect tense, had is the only one to use. Okay, he had invited all his relatives for the marriage. Present perfect continuous tense. Something is, we started something earlier and still continuous. That is when we use present perfect continuous. I started studying in 2001 and still it continues. So you should use have been, present perfect continuous. And since I started studying, I have been studying for my medicine MBBS studies from 2000. Since 2020, it means it still continues. Okay, present perfect continuous. You should use since and past perfect tense from and to, because something had started and it doesn't exist now and it was already stopped, is what we use in present past perfect continuous tense. Here we have been inviting all our relatives for the marriage in the family since last 50 years. For the last 50 years we have been inviting all our relatives. If any sort of marriage happens in our family, something has been happening from long time ago, but still it continues since 50 years, last 50 years. Something is happening now and it was happening for the last 10 years and still continues. In such occasion we use present perfect continuous. How to create a question for that? Have we been inviting all our relatives for the marriage? In the family since last 50 years. We have been inviting all our relatives, or have we been inviting all our relatives for the marriage in the family since last 50 years, is the question in present perfect continuous tense. When it comes to past perfect or present perfect singular, third person singular, if we just create a sentence, in how to create. Has he been inviting, third person singular, he. So has should be used there. Has he been inviting all of his relatives for the marriage in the family since last 50 years? Has he been inviting all his relatives for the marriage in the family since last 50 years? Third person singular, present perfect, continuous tense. This is how sentences are created. When future perfect tense and future perfect continuous tenses are used very seldom. Very occasionally we use, and I'll just teach you it later, because otherwise you'll just confused. The meaning is a little bit confusing if it is not taught properly, and if it is not learned properly. So we can talk about it in later advanced level. We'll just I will teach you. Okay. Past perfect continuous. Something had started long ago or sometimes back, and it has stopped. It doesn't it's not happening now, so it has started and stopped. In such occasions we just use past perfect continuous tense. We had been inviting all of our relatives for the marriage. For all the marriage, because whenever the marriage comes, we used to invite all the relatives. And if you have any sort of doubt, you can just WhatsApp me in that above number. Number is given there. You can just clear the doubts with me, because even if it is not an online class, I can clear it. It's not a problem. And if you have more, if you are interested to learn more, you can join my online classes also. And the number is there. You can communicate with me, and not necessarily you can learn it basic things you can learn from this YouTube videos only. But if you just want to go ahead, just advanced level, you can join my online classes. It will all be taught, like importance of body language, how to attend an interview, the tips for debates, group discussion and all. Okay, that's all for today. I'll will come with a new video tomorrow. Take care. Bye.